I am going to eat my words totally on this topic.
We better turn. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's enjoying their work week. I hope everyone's doing well. And there's some things that we need to talk about here because I have always wanted to check out some of the statistics on some of these players, what's been going on, and definitely saw some news that was very eye-opening to see how far these players have, gone since some of these players have been drafted. To see the growth of some of these players so early in the season, what they have done so far, and I'm just amazed at it at this point. Okay, now Jalen Carter is definitely one we definitely have to talk about, as I'm already have believing that he's been the best talent from this past draft, the number one talent. As much as I, had Will Anderson as number one and Jalen Carter being my second best talent here, I think he steals the cake. It's definitely 100% Jalen Carter from this draft and what he has done. And he was immediate impact during training camp. Our own players and the joint practices, I think, guys were having issues. Guards were having issues against Jalen Carter. Losing Javon Hargrave is obviously the biggest, before the draft, Javon Hargrave was the biggest loss and going to the 49ers, and he's playing very well right now. Jalen Carter is a generational talent that you're not going to get in every draft. And this is why. Okay, Jalen Carter has 89 snaps for the Philadelphia Eagles in 3 games. So he's not getting as many snaps as the top 10 defensive tackles are in the league right now. Okay, 15 pressures for Jalen Carter, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Aaron Donald has 14 pressures and 158 snaps right now. The top 10 defensive tackles are well over, through week 3, are going into week 4, are well over 100 snaps. And Jalen Carter is only at 89 snaps for the season right now. It really shows you how great he is for the little to less, more than half down time than a lot of other defensive tackles in the league. He is progressing and producing so well. And you could tell between I saw Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter in the Tampa Bay game. You'd think that Fletcher Cox would get to the quarterback first, but he didn't. Jalen Carter took on a double team in a half a second and got there before Fletcher Cox was single blocked. And Fletcher Cox is, I think, leading the league in QB hits right now. I mean, that's showing you how good this rotation is for the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. It's really showing you a lot, okay? I see Jalen Carter's future. Jalen Carter doesn't even have a whole year in the NFL yet, and this is what he's doing. I mean, through 3 games, this is what he's done so far, and it's absolutely amazing. Hargrave was the biggest loss, and obviously the Eagles weren't paying him. Carter gets on this team. The best talent in this draft, the number one talent in this draft, could be an Eagles great in the future, could be a lot of things, but I don't want to put too much pressure on it, okay? It's really hard for me to pull back and say, we got to take it year by year, how he plays and what he does, but those teams, those 9 other teams that were in front of us, well, we moved up 1 spot, but in general, because we were at 10, those 9 other teams in front of us made a huge mistake. And like I said, Jalen Carter coming to the Philadelphia Eagles was the best place for him. I think from a support standpoint, from what happened this offseason, and just I think it's just going to make him not only a better person, but a better player at the end of the day with mentors like Jordan Davis and having, Nolan Smith here and having Ringo here and Nakobe Dean and the rest of the guys here from Georgia, which I think totally helps him 100% when those guys are in the room, especially in the beginning of his career. It's nice to have those guys around. And Carter has been just angry. I mean, even the forced fumble against Tampa Bay, when he punched the ball out, the running back was just about to get off the ground. He hits him again. He is a force of nature. He is inhuman. I could probably say that. And from the statistics, what he's done, I mean, he's like top 3 in pressures, I think, right now, top 2 or top 3 in pressures. I mean, it's making the whole defensive line already, successful around him. If he's being that disruptive, like I said, it's 2 sacks in 3 games, but still, sometimes sack numbers aren't the whole thing, and it's not, because the more pressures he's getting, it means that other players are becoming more successful around him, and he's being, like I said, as disruptive and just a brick stone wall. I mean, I've absolutely loved it. Carter has been fantastic, and he's only been playing 3 games. It's insane. I thought it was going to take a couple games for him to get acclimated, and I'll let him get used to some NFL games, and I didn't think we were going to get a lot of surprises to this defensive line with a lot of players. And, I'm just talking about Jalen Carter right now because, I think those statistics really speak for itself on top of other great defensive tackles that are playing at a high level in the top 10, but don't even have close to the amount of snaps, the less snaps that Jalen Carter has. So been very happy with it. And, we'll see what his future looks like. The rest of the season looks like. I'm waiting for that one game where Carter has more than 2-3 sacks in one game, and it's going to happen soon. Okay, it's 100% going to happen soon. So we just got to kind of wait on it a little bit. Second, okay, I got to eat my words on this one. Britton Covey, I got to eat my words because I want him off the team after 2 weeks. I didn't have any faith, and, the Eagles got a new punter, so I was like, whatever. They brought Britton Covey the 3rd time to the active roster, and I think what was the big difference in the Tampa Bay game, I think depending on, obviously, the punts, you want to, depending on how they punt, other teams punt to us, it depends on the hang time. But I think the protection was very good. Where pretty much every time Britton Covey got the ball, especially the 52-yard return that he had, which I was so shocked over, and I really hyped him up last offseason. He was thrown in the fire as an undrafted free agent, and he had a lot of special teams pedigree with Utah, and I was very excited for it. But to be honest with you, this is only one game. This doesn't mean he's going to do this all year, but this is a nice start for Britton Covey and his career and his statistics for the year as of right now. Would you be surprised if I told you that Britton Covey is a top 3 punt returner in the league right now through 3 weeks of football in the NFL? Okay. Now, 3+ returns for Covey. Okay. He's 3rd in yards per average with 18.8 yards. 2nd in punt return yards. 2nd with 113 yards. And it says 0 muffed punts, but he definitely muffed the punt. I think the 1st or the 2nd week. So he's muffed 1 punt, but I think it comes down to when you muff a punt too. And I think him protection of the football is definitely another thing he's got to do, because sometimes he'll be going to the ground, getting tackled, and he'll try to keep his balance and hold the ball for too long with one arm, and that thing gets punched out. That's pretty much it. So he's pretty much top 2 in punt returns right now. Pretty much. And I'm eating my words. I humble myself to say that this is one game where he played fantastic, and I hope to see more. It's very nice to see that special teams helps out with this offense, especially because I think we really need it. It gives the offense a break when you get that third part of the game of special teams, which a lot of people don't care about. To me, I think it's one of the most important, because I don't want to, treat the special teams like the redhead stepchild. Michael Clay is, I guess, coaching pretty well right now, but we have to see if this thing keeps going. The Eagles haven't had successful special teams really since, 2014, I would say 2015, since we've had Josh Huff at kick returns, since we've had Darren Sproles at punt return. We haven't really had that much success. I guess Kenyon Barner, you could say, in 17, he had a couple good punt returns, but I would say consistently where it's been always pretty good. Kick returns a whole nother thing, but Covey at punt return, he did really well. He got 1 return at the 2 and still went over 15 yards, got to the 30, 35 with that one. I think he kind of felt himself up a little bit after that punt return once he got the next one and went all the way to the 2, and then he's like, let me take this back, see what I can do with it. But when Britton Covey is on, I think where he's going to be, some punt returners are weird, because I feel like when a punt is really good, okay, and it's less hang time or more hang time, and when there's defenders 5 yards or less in front of you. I feel like some punt returners are good when they have to not hesitate, and then there's some punt returners that just really need that space, and when you give them that space and the protection is good on those gunners coming downfield, I feel like there's guys that, punt returners are just different like that. And I think with Covey, I think the more space he has once he gets the football in his hands, the better off he's going to be, because he could run through every little bit of space, every little crevice that he could find, and really turn it into a big gain. And he's fast, and he looks like a punt returner, and he's got the elusiveness for it. When you look at him play, he looks like he plays like a punt returner. He's got the body for it. Like, he's got the attributes for it. You know what I mean? So very happy about that. I eat my words, but this is only 1 week. It doesn't mean he's going to do this every game. So we got to, kind of take it with a grain of salt too. So very happy for him. Very happy for him. Definitely. Now, lastly, well, not really lastly, second to lastly, Derek Barnett, man. Defensive ends besides Josh Sweat, I mean, we get some pressures, maybe one pressure from a defensive end that's really not getting the numbers that they really have right now. Barnett, the last 9 games, has 1 QB hit. Now, I think this is wrong because I think he had 1 tackle. I think against the Patriots, the first game, I think he had 1 tackle. If I'm not mistaken, I remember him making a tackle 100%. So, 1 QB hit in the last 9 games of his career. Nolan Smith has a QB hit in the last 6 snaps. Now, obviously, with Nolan Smith, before the 3rd game against Tampa on Monday night, he was pretty much on the percentage sheet for the snaps as a linebacker, but they weren't using him. He had about 13 snaps in 2 games the first 2 weeks. Then the 3rd game came, and he was playing more on the edge. Had that big hit on Baker Mayfield, which was great. Physical, and I got to see more Nolan Smith on the edge. I got to see more. And I think, Nolan Smith is taking a little bit longer because I think the Eagles, when you don't put him as, I knew we were going to use him in more ways, but I haven't seen him at outside linebacker. I haven't seen him as a Sam linebacker yet. I think he's been playing mostly special teams at this point, but as a first-round pick, he has got to, and like I said, I don't put much into first-round picks their first year, but like Jordan Davis is having a great second year right now. I put more into the second year for first-round picks, and talking about Derek Barnett as a first-round pick, the guy is done. After this year, he is walking. He will never be back on this team ever again. And I said, what if he has a good year? I still would say don't even sign him. The good thing about Barnett is he hasn't done anything stupid yet. It hasn't costed the Eagles to stay on the field and with some drive-killing penalties, and hasn't played in a while. The guy's just been nonstop hurt. But this year he's healthy. He's getting into some games, and I feel like he gets some pressures. I don't know with his pressure stats. I've seen in a couple games he had like maybe 1 pressure where he got close, but not there yet at times. But it's just been nothing. It's not enough. Hassan Reddick, I trust more in him because he's very streaky. 1 month he'll have no sacks. Another month he'll have 4 to 6 sacks in 1 month. I think with Hassan Reddick, he's going to get his as time goes on with the season. He will make up for it the last few games, no doubt. With the big matchup with Washington on Sunday with Sam Howell, I think they can get some good pressure on him. But Derek Barnett has been absolutely just non-existing. And he wanted a trade and he wanted to go somewhere else because he didn't want to be in a rotation. Let me tell you something. With more snaps, Barnett ain't doing nothing. But we're not moving him. I don't know. We haven't traded him. He could be a big trade bait target before the trade deadline is done by week 9 of the season. So he could be trade bait. Maybe they could trade him for a draft pick or maybe a player for player. Or I don't know. He doesn't really have much value. Let's see if he at least garnish a few sacks, get some value on some pressures or something before week 9. It would be nice, but I guess we'll find out later on. But like I said, Nolan Smith definitely has to play more. This was the first game where he had a lot of snaps at defensive end and had 1 pressure and had a QB hit. So, so it is what it is. A pressure and a QB hit's better than nothing, and Nolan Smith just needs more time. Josh Sweat can't do everything, but obviously everybody is helping out. They're getting some pressures. As long as, look, if you're Brandon Graham and you're on the edge and you're moving the quarterback inside the pocket because your outside rush is pretty good, you're doing your job. So if the numbers aren't there, some guys are doing their job. It's just not showing up on the stat sheet so much because they're making another player successful to go make that play. So it's a good thing. But Barnett, yeah, he hasn't done anything stupid yet, but it's not looking great. It's got to do more, And lastly, for the offensive line going into Sunday, Landon Dickerson was dealing with the right leg injury, or at least he had a sleeve on his right leg. He has the bruise on his knee or the contusion, whatever it is. It's weird because out of that game, I thought he messed up. I thought he had like a shoulder injury, and then it became a knee. So maybe the shoulder wasn't serious. But Landon Dickerson will be back 100%. He will play on Sunday. We really need him because this is a week where you're facing, I would have to say, the best defensive line on our schedule as so far as we've gone through the past few weeks with Washington. So they're going to be aggressive. They're going to bring that power, and you got a good amount of guys that are going to go after it. So I think this is going to be a great matchup between both trenches. I think trenches are going to be a huge part. As much as they're a big part of every game, this one is specifically important because, number one, it's a division game. It's in Philadelphia, and this is the best defensive line you're facing to this point on the schedule. So you got to take it into account. Dickerson being back is great. So far, that's it. I know Boston Scott and Dickerson are the two that will be back Sunday so far. On the others, with Sidney Brown and Quez Watkins and some of the other injuries, have no idea yet, but we'll find out when the time comes. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We went over, obviously, Jalen Carter and the statistics, and holy crap, it's just amazing. Britton Covey, eating my own words on Britton Covey, just for 1 week. We'll see what he does the rest of the season. And, Derek Barnett to Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith needs more snaps at defensive end. Last game was kind of his first, where he got a good amount of snaps there. And Barnett hasn't done nothing the past 9 games, even this season yet. Hasn't done anything stupid, so that's a great thing. But other than that, guys, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy it. Shakes, what up, follow. So peace out, guys. Peace.